Hello and welcome to Nikolai's genetics lessons, and the question of the day is which one is Diamino Dicarboxylic Amino acid, and you have to choose one of these answers. Take a look at this picture, and here is one amino acid, here's another amino acid, and each amino acid has amino group on one end and on the other end carboxylic acid group, amino group and carboxylic acid group. And when these two amino acids would make a peptide bond, they are going to lose two hydrogens and one oxygen. So this hydrogen, and this oxygen, and would join, and here we see a peptide bond. Some would say that peptide bond is between carbon and nitrogen, but if we consider two groups, we can say that this is going to be a peptide bond. This reaction called condensation reaction, when one molecule of water would be produced. If we consider any of the 20 amino acids, every amino acid would have only one amino and one carboxylic acid group. But today our question about diamino and dicarboxylic amino acid. So what kind of amino acid has two amino group and two carboxylic acid groups? There are only 20 amino acids exist that make our bodies, but actually in the nature we can find more than 300. Obviously, some of them would be very different from what we get used to see in standard 20 amino acids, but this is actually not quite so, because this diamino dicarboxylic amino acid is made from one of the standard 20 amino acids. Now take a look at this picture, and what you see here, for example, on this picture, tertiary structure of the polypeptide, and here we also see disulfide bridges. Only two amino acids out of 20 contain sulfur in its R group, and one would be methionine R chain, would look as follows. So carbon, hydrogen 2, carbon, hydrogen 2, sulfur, and methyl group. Another amino acid would be cysteine, and R chain is going to be as follows: carbon, hydrogen 2, sulfur, and hydrogen. But cysteine is not going to be as in answer A. Actually, it's going to have E between T and I, so cysteine. Methionine, because it ends with methyl group, is not going to be reactive. But cysteine is going to be reactive because this hydrogen is going to be easy to lose and form disulfide bridge between two cysteines. That's why these disulfide bridges are only formed between two cysteines and not between cysteine and methionine, or between two methionines, only between two cysteines. So cysteine with E after T and cysteine would be a molecule that is made of two cysteines, and these two cysteines would be, cysteine is one of 20 standard amino acids, would form a disulfide bridge and would make a cysteine. So this molecule has its own name. It is diamino because it has two amino groups. Take a look, amino group here and another amino group here, and two carboxylic acid groups. So it is here and here, and on this diagram here and here. But you also may ask whether cysteine are going to be formed if two cysteines are going to be next to each other. Actually, all amino acids are going to be joined by only peptide bonds, and if two cysteines would happen next to each other, they are also going to be connected through peptide bond. Now take a look at this picture of the insulin, and you would see that here we have one cysteine, here is another cysteine, which are next to each other, and they are connected through peptide bond. But when two cysteines would be separated by at least 4 amino acids, they can make a disulfide bridge. These bridges are very important for tertiary structure of the polypeptides and as well as quaternary structures. Quaternary structures would be when two polypeptide chains would aggregate into one protein. And here we see this is beginning of this polypeptide and this is end of this polypeptide. And during post-production processing of this polypeptide, this piece, which is called chain C, would be cut away, and the final form of the insulin is going to have only chain A, chain B, which would be connected through the sulphide bridges. So by now, probably many of you wonder if this molecule can be found in free form in our bodies, and actually it can be found in certain type of kidney stones. This molecule is slightly water soluble, sometimes cysteine advertised as food additive because it's found in abundance in structural proteins, which we can find in the abundance in our skin, nails and hair. But I wouldn't risk to take it because, as I said, it's also found in kidney stones, and I would prefer to get my amino acids and proteins through just normal food and not in the form of food additives. Now, as you see, we can choose our answer. This is going to be answer A. This molecule, which is Diamino Dicarboxylic Amino acid, is cysteine. Some people pronounce standard amino acid cysteine, and this compound amino acid also as cysteine, but I have found that it is very difficult to explain because of the verbal similarity of these two words. Those spelling is going to be different. So you can find both variants of the pronunciation, and as I said, I prefer the version with different pronunciation. And this is all for today. Subscribe and see you in the next video. Goodbye.